we can agree that the spirit and the soul is in the phase of air, and we can agree that the body is in phase of solid. So just because you can't see these tiny little atoms and what they consist of, the spirit, doesn't mean that it can't be defined by the rules of science. Hello, hi guys, and welcome to my channel Purple Science. My name is Lynn Lotus, and actually I think I was supposed to say the other one before the other, but anyway, hi guys. Okay, well guys, I really would enjoy it and appreciate it if you guys liked and subscribed on my videos. I'm trying to grow my channel, and I'm also trying to be as authentic as I can be, which is really a struggle. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys actually like my videos, to actually subscribe so I can actually grow, because I will be doing like cloudy videos, but I'm not too sure if I want to get straight into that as of yet. But today we are talking about something informative, like I always like to talk about informative stuff, which is religion and science. Okay, this is a bit of a funny one because not a lot of people, and I will repeat this on my other channels, best believe, is that people don't believe that religion and science go hand in hand. You know, you'll have your religious person, I'm like, but Christianity goes completely against science and science goes completely against religion. Well, I don't think so. If you guys really want to know what I think and what I've collected information, which is like kind of factual in a sense, then you'll continue listening to this, watching and listening to this video. If you don't, just listen because it could be informative. So, okay, the first reason, not the first reason, but let me first explain why I believe that religion and science go hand in hand. Okay, now let's look at this. Let's look at the basis of everything, right? And when I speak like on a religious tip, please don't think I'm being too religious, because I'm gonna dive deep into it. And when I'm talking about like when I'm talking about science and I go deep into it, don't say, oh, she's being scientific. No, it's because I believe in both of them, like truly, deeply with my whole heart, right? Okay, let's start. All right, let's look at the fundamentals of everything. Let's think about what creates energy in speech, in a lot of noises. Energy is in everything, we agree, right? So what compiles energy? What really compiles energy is tiny little atoms and compounds, right? Now we're going to science, right? And in that way, I want to say that since science can explain that every little atom is what compiles to everything that exists around us, everything that we can experience, you know. So something that we can experience is prayer, right? I hope you guys get where I'm going with this one. Okay, so if science, I believe science is a religion, by the way. My religion is science and something else, but anyway, so with those tiny little atoms, and that only being explained by science, right? Those tiny little atoms are what create vibration, right? Vibration is in your speech, is when you speak, when you utter curses, when you utter blessings, when you pray, you know. Those tiny little particles are a formation from science, but that atom needs to have life in it. Like when we look at our bodies, right, we are not just vessels. We have a spirit, we have a soul, right? So with each and every single atom in science, they say, I will show it on the side here. In science, they tell you that in order for atoms to react, right, and form any kind of energy, they have to interact with another atom. You see? Now, when they interact with another atom, they start to now cause bonds, right? An energy interaction. So the chemical exchanges are what cause a energy between them, you know. It's what causes vibrations, life. It's what causes fire. So with us, with ourselves as well, we couldn't possibly exist if it wasn't for one atom that could possibly be our bodies, and one part of us, the other atom, that is our soul. and together they come together, they interact, and they form life. Do you guys see now where I'm getting at with the religion and science can be bonded? Now that's my first thesis, or my first reason for religion and science to be one thing, or the fact that they are one thing. Okay, the next reason we can go into is about how life was created. Okay, now let's look at the sperm and the egg, right? There has to be a certain object and another object, maybe a tiny little atom and a tiny little atom, right, that come into collision to create life. And that's just we see that in everything. We see that in animals, we see that in emotions, we see that in chemistry, we see that in every place. We see that once something and something interact into a collision, something there happens. We call that kinetic energy, right? For the people who don't know what kinetic energy in science, it means that it's the energy that is a result of an energy that of a movement that had happened, or a misplacement. So for instance, like this Vaseline, right, if it's chilling like this, it's got static energy. If I do that, you calculate that, you know, that the impact that had happened between the object and myself, right? So that kinetic energy that is between things is the product of what has of the collision of something that has just happened, you know. So when we look at kinetic energy, it's only described as energy, you understand? So every single thing that has energy is a product of a collision, right? We have energy, right? And we did discuss that material. Okay, we didn't discuss this, but material can come into phases. You can have your solid phase, your liquid phase, and your air, or your air phase, or not air, but what do we call this again, guys? Yes, that phase, the air phase. Okay, I'm just gonna call it the air phase. I just forgot the name, but it's like tiny particles that are of air. It's invisible, right? So we can agree that the spirit and the soul is in the phase of air. And we can agree that the body is in phase of solid. So just because we can't see these tiny little atoms and what they consist of, the spirit, doesn't mean that it can't be defined by the rules of science. You guys know what I mean? I personally am not a believer of specifically Christianity, specifically Muslim teachings, or specifically any kind of biblical teachings, but I look at an overview and I read and I learn from all these traditions. And in all of that, they always speak about a connection with God. Think about two magnets, right? Let's say maybe one magnet is on the North Pole and the other is on the North Pole as well. They don't want to come together. Why? It's because there's these magnetic forces that cannot be seen, that are either pulling them closer or taking them apart, right? So now with that connection with God, that means that's an attraction force. Everything is forces and energies. When we talk about the connection, we talk about things that connect, right? So now we're talking about magnetic forces in science. So that is also another indicator that that religion has science in it. It explains the connections, the pulls and the pushes. They say that if you turn yourself into now here's a beautiful one. Think about electromagnets. When electromagnets are magnets that you can actually make a north pole, you can make them north poles, or you can make them south poles. So you can always interchange between what magnetic fields you want to create, right? So now think about the teachings of religion. They say that if you want to bring God into your life, you become of what God would be, because we are created in his image, right? So you are kind, you are giving, you are thankful, you are just generally someone who becomes that force. So like an electromagnet, you turn yourself into that person that attracts God. So you turn yourself into a North Pole that attracts the South Pole, or the South Pole that attracts the North Pole, which is God. Understand what I mean? Even if it isn't the same north, south, but they are distant. I mean, he exists in, well, the universe, God, I like to say, I don't like to specify, but they are in another form. You get what I mean? So it wouldn't necessarily be north, south. Okay, now I'm just overthinking, but you guys get what I mean with the magnetic forces and everything. You turn yourself into what you want to attract. And so if you are what God, like if God recognizes your light, that's what they say, if God recognizes your light, you attract him. So if that magnet, but you guys, I think you guys get what I mean, right? Okay, so that's the second point, the attractions. The third point is in science. Okay, some religious teachings talk about chakras. Okay, so when they speak about chakras, they talk about colors ranging from red all the way to purple, right? Oh wait, I'm gonna cut this part, but back on the fact that there's a collision that happens, you guys also have to think about the Big Bang. The Big Bang couldn't have necessarily been true, couldn't have necessarily been untrue, but what I find truth in is that whenever there's a collision, do you get what I mean? A collision, something happens. Sperm, egg, anything, kinetic energy. But anyway, let's continue. Okay, now the third point is the teachings about the chakras, right? Now that goes into your more of the, what do they call this? But it's in that section. You guys will know the chakras, the crystals, and etc. Right? Yes, the yogi people. I will not say yogis, but people who usually like do yoga, and I'll have the name on the screen because I'll find it and then I'll say it properly. Sorry guys for the people who believe in that. But yes, the yogis, I would call them the yogis. They talk about chakras. That's why they do a lot of meditation, a lot of flexing of the body, a lot of silent moments, the stimulation. But we'll talk more about that. So these are people who talk about the colors, right? When we look at the world around us, they only consist of colors ranging from red all the way to purple, right? And these are colors that we experience. These are colors that we see right now. You know, these are the only colors that we can interact with. Okay, great. Now the colors ranging from the chakras are that from the bottom, right? When you're actually sitting in this position, the bottom from your anus is the red color, which is the root chakra. Then the next one is the one like right by your area, your beautiful area, is your creativity, your sexual urges, and etc. It's orange. And then the one above that is your solar plexus. Yes, I'm correct. Your solar plexus is yellow. It talks about intuition, gut feelings, and you know, where we die and where we don't die. It's yellow. And then it comes to this part, the heart area, which is a heart chakra. It's green. It talks about a family, nurturing, love, etc. And then we have our throat chakra, which is blue, and it talks about communication, understanding, learning, and knowledge. And then we have our third eye. So yeah, it's in those third eye teachings, which is indigo, which talks about intuition, clairvoyancy, and so forth. Intuition, like yeah, basic intuition. And then we have the one that's above our heads, which is said to be the Sahasrara, which is the crown chakra, and it's pink. Right, so they say that all the colors are existing within us, which I wouldn't argue to say no, because those are the colors we experience. So it would make sense if it were colors that were within us and we experience. And to classify certain things, like when you look at a tree, you think about growth. You think about growth in a relationship. You think about growth in family. You think about growth in money. You know, Taurians and all the earth elements. But we'll get more into that. It's astrology. And then yeah. So with that is spirituality. Teachings, right? Spiritual teachings. And then in science we talk and we say yes, when we do a indicator test, right, we find that we can find all the colors from, like, you see a black ink, you can find all the colors like they're in rainbow. That's crazy. And another thing, when tested on white light as well, when you do the prism test, the white light hits the prism, which is like this. By the way, you guys probably seen this symbol a couple of times. When it hits that prism, which is clear, it's like a block, right? On the other side, it's all the colors. You guys will understand where I'm getting at that. So that is explained in spirituality, that we have colors radiating within us. And then science shows you that white light, just pure one white light, which is the direct light that comes from the sun, which is the light that we use for our phones and etc., right? Even when you put your phone, like, turn on your flashlight, right? Put your phone down with the flashlight up, you will see a ring around the white light, which is a rainbow. That's crazy. So with all of that being said, all the colors, right? When you draw back that color from, when you look at the reverse of that prism experiment, right? You find that when all the colors collect, moving from a medium, right? Now think about this. When all the colors of the world collect and they insert into a medium, people, that prism comes back into white light from within. Do you guys understand what I mean? They always speak about God and they say the light within you. God is the light. You see those references? You are the light from God, or the light within you. Even in this other language, Sutu, they say that Lisedi. When they refer to God in their Bible, they say Lisedi. Lisedi means light. So I hope you guys get my vibe. There is white light within you. When that is reflected through a medium, we experience all the colors. When all those colors, now that is death. I hope you guys understand what I mean. When death happens and all these colors collect and they reflect back to you, you're only left with white light. I hope you guys understand what I mean. White light is traveling on its own. The spirit is traveling on its own. The atoms that compile a spirit are traveling on their own until they meet a body, a medium, a reflector, an interpreter of the surrounding. That is only when we get to experience colors. That's why meditation is so important, because it pulls you right back into being in self. And that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you understood all my 3 reasons for believing that religion and science is one thing, and I personally believe that they were a consummation of what is existing right now. If science did not feel attracted to spirit or religion and made love, we wouldn't exist. And I'm happy that we exist. I'm happy you exist. And I hope this made you believe a little bit more in both, because there's nothing to discriminate. It's all one big story of the same thing, which is within us, the light, which is God, which is science, and which is our existence of being. So I hope you guys really enjoyed my video. I'll be doing more of these if you guys actually like these videos, and I hope I didn't sound too crazy. And I hope I get to see you guys next time. Enjoy, guys, and I will see you next time. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends if you really like me like that, and I'll see you guys next time.